I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. Please follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube, leave a comment, give us a thumbs up. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and any other place you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe to the show. Let everybody know about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Mark B. Let's bring the crew in. All right, y'all. 2023. What's up with it?
Man, Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. So, sad news in football. Bills safety Damar Hamlin. He was making a routine tackle. The brother tried to get up and immediately fell back. They had to bring out the ambulance. Thankfully, the team medics were right there. They had to administer CPR. Apparently, according to his family, he had to be resuscitated twice. He's still in the critical condition, but they say that his vitals are stable. So we're hoping that there's not any long-term ramifications for, the time that he was, basically not breathing on the field. A lot of people were just shook up and sad just to see a young man. I mean, they show clips of him and his family right before the game, and to see all of his teammates and the other players, how shook and devastated they were. It was just a sight to see, and it was very sad. When you all first saw it, what went through your mind other than just, incredible sadness?
I mean, when I watched him go down, I knew something was wrong immediately just by the way like the players were kind of gathering around him. But when I saw the ambulance out on the field, when it flashed the commercial and came back, I was like, I've been following and watching football my whole entire life, and I don't ever remember an ambulance actually driving out on the field. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is a lot more serious than what, we all thought or what anybody could have possibly thought it was. So
were you watching it live?
Yeah, I was watching it live. Yeah.
I wasn't, but I caught the replay like on accident because I was working. But then like everybody started talking about it and stuff, and I saw it and I was like, I didn't need to see that. And my heart just went out to his family because I couldn't imagine as a mom, especially you're watching your child out there living his dream, and to see, him have a medical emergency like that it just broke my heart.
Yeah, I'm echoing both of those sentiments. I was watching it live as well, and I have a couple different group chats that I be in when we're, watching games and stuff, usually on Sundays, or Monday nights or whatever. And we all were like, man, something is weird. Because like you said, see, that's not normal for them to have that ambulance out there. And then when they went to a commercial a second time without really saying anything, and you saw the players crying, like I never have seen players openly sobbing like on the field like that.
And both sides.
Both teams. And the other guys, they were
Everybody
looking
was
in
shook up.
shock, like they had never seen that before. And if they'd never seen it before, then I knew it was something that was much more serious than just usually when the stretcher comes out, it's usually for like some kind of head or neck injury. Maybe they were unconscious or something like that, but they snap back to it within a minute or so. And, they still put him on the stretcher for precautionary reasons, but he was on that field for like 10 minutes. And it definitely was a scary situation. Definitely.
And it seemed like it was a pretty routine tackle. It didn't seem
like
a heavy collision, but you never know anybody's physical health. I mean, they may be totally built up in the inside. Obviously he's an NFL player. You would think he's in peak optimal condition to be able to perform on the field, but it doesn't take much, right? So that collision to the chest, it may have just been at the right place, at the right time with the way his body was positioned, and it caused those consequences. I mean, I played football, and when you're playing football that the risk of injury is there. As you progress, when you go from like high school to college into the pros, that risk becomes a lot more likely to happen because you have full grown men, 200-pound plus men running at, incredible speeds, smashing into one another. So it's when they say it's a gladiator sport, it really is. And people always talk about, yeah, I'm ready to die. We're ready to go for war. We're ready to do all this, that, and the other. You never really think that your teammate or somebody that you are playing across the field from could lose their life playing a game that they love. There was a lot of talk about how the NFL handled it. I wasn't watching it. I kind of saw the replay, like Arika said. I kind of, fantasy football. If it's on the TV, I'll watch it, but I'm not just sitting down and watching football. Because of stuff we talked about in the past. They really started warming up again. They thought that those dudes were going to be able to possibly finish a game after seeing somebody go down like that.
So no, they really didn't start warming up again. They just kind of were talking about it, and they said like the referees are going to give them 5 minutes, and they went over and talked to both coaches. They went to the sidelines, but the players never came back out. And then they went back and had another huddle with Buffalo's coach, and they went over and talked to the Bengals coach, and then they went into the locker room. But yes, the NFL said we're going to give each team 5 minutes it was 5 minutes, I guess, to pull yourself together, then 15 minutes to warm up, but no one actually started that. I think the Bills coach immediately backpedaled. If I'm not mistaken, right? Backpedaled. They kept the camera on him the entire time.
He told me that, hey, y'all smoking crack.
The Bengals coach
back out there.
The Bengals coach said that the Bills coach was like, hey, he came up to him and was like, I can't stay here. Basically the coach said, I got to go to the hospital with my guy. And he was like, I have nothing but respect for him, because if he hadn't have done that, Belichick would have been like, hey, all right, well, let's keep going. You hate to say it, but somebody like Belichick, and I don't mean to single him out, but there probably are coaches who would have, if Goodell said you got 5 minutes, and we got 5 minutes, but you definitely got to respect the fact that the coach was like, nah, we ain't playing.
So we can't really give credit to the NFL.
No, it's the players and the coaches.
Yeah, it was the players and the coaches, because at
That's what I
first
was
they
gonna
were going to the locker room is what the announcer, at least that's what the TV told us, that they're going to the locker rooms to pull themselves together. And then later on the TV, that's when they said, okay, the game has been postponed. And so, yeah, it definitely wasn't the NFL calling it. I don't know if they had a collective conversation, but it was initiated from the Bills coach.
And I will say this, I love it. And I watch, if it's a football game on, I'm watching it for real.
Me too.
Me too. But in my check, I said, I ain't gonna lie. If they continue this game, I'm done with the NFL, like straight up. And because that would have been totally insensitive, straight up. Because dude, basically, he did die on the field
twice.
Yes. Yeah. So
yeah.
And nobody else was like emotionally prepared, both teams, to play that game. They would have been so out of it and not all the way there, which, you take a bigger risk of getting an injury. If you're out on the field and your mind's thinking about something else, you totally don't see somebody blindsiding you or hitting you, and you're not bracing and protecting yourself. It wouldn't have been good for them to go back out there after that. They were all shook, both sides. Even Joe Burrows, he was crying. His whole nose was red, just sitting there the whole time. That wasn't even, his teammate. It was on the other team. So they were in no position to go out there mentally.
Yeah. Well, I think the NFL probably was forced to probably make that decision. They have shown repeatedly in the past that player health isn't always at the top of their agenda. We know they have a shaky track record when it comes to that. And for me, that's part of the reason why I'm really cool on the NFL, we've always talked about football and it being sort of like a plantation mentality in terms of like how they treat their players. I think that's another clear example, right? Hey, get them off the field, get them to the hospital. We'll say a prayer, maybe take a knee, maybe bring everybody out to the 50-yard line, and we'll say a prayer, and then we'll finish this game. I mean, shout out to the coach for doing the right thing, because I think that they would have messed it up. And
for sure.
It would have just been another thing for them. And sadly, I don't think it would have stopped people from watching the game. I don't think it would have stopped them from watching the game. When you look at their track record with how they handle Black players, when it's talking about their cognitive testing, when it comes down to, okay, like how are they going to get paid for possible CTE after they retire or whatever, like they don't really care. They don't.
The crazy part about it is Cincinnati was the place, same exact field where that whole Tua Tagovailoa stuff happened this year, where he had a concussion on Sunday. They let him go back out on the field and finish the game. And then 4 days later, on a Thursday, played and got obliterated. And he was out there just stuck, literally stuck.
His hands were just stuck.
Yeah.
There's no reason he should have been out there. I really was hoping, I was like, you know what? I really hope that something didn't happen to this young man before this game. And they called themselves, okay, like you good to go. You know what I'm saying? You may not be 100%, but you can play, right? It's that old, are you injured or are you hurt?
Are you hurt? Yeah.
Injured, or because if you're injured, you can't play.
Yeah.
Hurt, you can play.
Yeah.
Play football, you've heard that. Are you
Mhm.
injured or are you hurt? And I was like, man, I certainly hope it wasn't that type of situation with this young man. Because this seems like it was like a freak.
Right.
Well, you can't even really call it a freak accident if you like I said.
Yeah, it's a car crash every time.
Out here crashing into each other. It's not a
Yeah.
freak accident. It
No.
can happen. So we can't say like, oh, this is not something that's normal. It can happen. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before then.
Apparently there was a player that died in 1971 on the field. They literally didn't stop. They just carried his body off and just kept on playing.
I heard that they was like right at it. Don't make it.
It was in the fourth quarter.
It don't make it right. But I heard the game was almost over.
Yeah,
it was. Right. It don't make it right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I will say this too. You mentioned about the concussion settlement and how they were race norming, and I heard Dominique Foxworth on ESPN say that you have to play like 3.5 years until you're vested. So that means that you don't even get health care after you get done playing unless you played at least 3.5 years. This is this kid's second year in the league. Signed a 4-year contract. You know what the guaranteed money in that 4-year contract was? Only $160,000 total. So
not per year.
Total. So
that's
guaranteed. So he played last year. So he already exceeded that amount. His base salary.
There's incentive dollars.
Right. And there's a base salary. But if they cut you, that's the only amount. If they cut you before you ever played it down, that was all he was going to get was $160,000. And I said, in the group chat, I'm like, dog, it's cats in this group chat that make more than that every year. Seriously. And we think of the toll it takes on their bodies. It's no coincidence that football players, they die young, man. More than any other sport, it seems like they're in their 50s and they pass.
And a lot of them, obviously, they walk away from the game with long-term injuries.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Basketball players do too. Like, you see a lot of you look at Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny if you still watch those dudes. I kind of don't fool with them because how they did Kyrie. But if you watch them when they walking and stuff, you even look Michael Jordan, you watch them when they walk, their knees are shot because of all those years of being on the court or whatever. And there's a lot of players who didn't reach that upper echelon where they can cash out and then they can use their likeness and their personality to be able to make money after they play. So they make it to the NFL. It's the peak of notoriety. You reach to the highest level, but you don't make enough to where it's like, I'm good for the rest of my life. But now you're dealing with these injuries, and if you're not vested and you don't have a pension, right, and you're not able to, because it wasn't always where the former players could, get health care, right? Like that was something that they just put into place.
Right.
We need to give them health care too. A lot of guys I know who play professionally was like, man, is it even worth it?
Right. Especially football.
Hindsight,
especially with
20
football.
years ago. Hindsight is worth it.
Yeah, because Kenny Smith knocked knee, but he still get around pretty well. He has his cognitive abilities. Football is something totally different, man.
And in baseball, you have guaranteed money too. It's really just football. And, they do it to protect themselves, because if you guarantee all this money and then somebody, happens to tear ACL and then they can't play for 2 years, then you know what I mean? Then the team's out money. But then on the flip side, when you're a player,
that's that plantation mentality.
Yeah. And then when you're a player, though, you can risk yourself, and like you said, and then you end up having to just go and find like a normal job like the rest of us, and you don't have anything to show for it.
But they can't though. A lot of them can't go find a normal job like the rest of us.
True.
Just because of the injuries, and like not even just that, but you can't imagine someone who's reached that peak of notoriety and then gets injured, and then just to go work a day job. Like,
well, I mean, I'm assuming some of them go into coaching.
Yeah, I think most of them do go into coaching. But then if you're dealing with like the long-term concussion stuff, then you can't sit in light, and you can't like sit and listen to people talking.
Watch film.
And they ain't gonna have you being a coach, man. If you got concussion history, probably.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, they're billionaires. They're making money off of you regardless. But what they're doing is protecting themselves from losing out on their asset. Like you said, plantation mentality. But I mean, until we require them to do better, they're not going to.
I know you're feeling the show, but picture your ad right here. If you want to advertise with us, hit up the link in our bio and we'll get you on the show.
D's adding that flavor to your function. D's daiquiri. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Flavor to your function. D's daiquiri. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Good people, good vibe, one drink. Wanna kick back, wanna just vibe. Wanna kick back. Let me first slide to the drink store. Let me just buy DD drink mixes, all of them fire. Fill me up a case, I'm finna drop bread. Marvelous mango, classic and red. Took them to the party, these folks won't leave me alone. They wanting me to share, they better get their own. DD's adding that flavor to your function. DD's daiquiri. Good vibe, one at a time. Good vibe, one at a time.
They have no reason to.
I think that this is the time where we say it again. We've said it before when it came to the kneeling situation. The players got to be like, yo, we have to have guaranteed contracts.
But they're weak. They're weak.
They are.
The NFL's player union is probably the weakest out of all the players unions.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, not even just that, but most of the people are pawns. The people that have to make the big moves are Tom Brady. So like, let's say Tom Brady said, I'm not re-signing unless all of my people have guaranteed contracts for this. That's what's going to move the league.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody going to let Tom Brady go. Ain't nobody going to let their quarterback go without, you know what I mean?
Well, he might have should have pulled that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now I think they
Might have, should have. He don't care.
The quarterback,
Hey,
he need that guaranteed money now.
Yeah.
But
he should have did that about 5-6 years ago. Now
That's what I said.
maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But now he can't. He definitely can't. That man that lost his wife for nothing.
He lost that billionaire side income. He wasn't worried about money
he had
before.
more money than him.
Right. Now that
He won't go sit
supermodel
down.
left home, he got to actually work for his food.
Did y'all see that fool Skip Bayless and his tweet? I'll be honest with you. I used to watch him when Stephen A was on First Take, with him and Stephen A on First Take. I used to watch them all the time. Well, I didn't watch, I would listen to the podcast. I would listen to the replay. And he made me sick because he would have been just another Joe Blow reporter talking head. But we talked about the rappers last show, right? We talked about how like they're making these record companies rich and how they're capitalizing off them, taking insurance policies on them. We're talking about the NFL players, how's a plantation mentality. You got mainly white owners capitalizing on mainly black bodies, putting themselves in peril. Skip Bayless is another white man that made his bones off a black body. Had he not been that dude who was constantly going after LeBron James, would we really even care or know about who Skip Bayless is? No, we wouldn't.
You wouldn't, but the reason he got the show was because he was the Dallas Cowboys. He was like that being he wrote a book on the Cowboys, and that's how he got popular.
So I'm not begrudging.
Yeah, but no, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I'm not begrudging that he's the actual certifiable reporter who actually put in work, right? Because he did do that. But even then, he was still clowning Irvin and all.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I was just saying that to say he's been around for a while.
He was still attacking black men.
Yeah,
right? That's how he got his. That's how he got his notoriety.
Yep.
And then you come to this, and he makes this tweet, and it's insensitive as all get out. Now, if you read the whole tweet, and shout out to all these people that said reading comprehension, they try to clown people who are offended by the tweet, talking about you guys can't comprehend, you don't have to read comprehension. Let me tell you something, boy, F you. I wish I could say what I want to say, but I'll try not to get our show shadow banned. Folks know how to read, and they know exactly what that dude was trying to do. He was trying to be sensational. He was trying to be slick, because if he really cared about that game not being relevant anymore, because that boy was still on the field, he wouldn't have said what he had to say. Timing is everything. Being able to read the room is everything. And he failed. And the fact that he has consistently been this type of troll, I don't cut him any slack. And I'm really disappointed in all these so-called brothers and sisters who are going to bat for this dude. So, I mean, how did it hit y'all? Did it rub y'all the wrong way like it did me? What's up?
Not one iota.
I mean, you nailed it. You nailed it. It's all about timing. When he tweeted that man was still out on the field. You know what I mean? And so it was just to get attention. Everything he does is just to get attention. And so it's just, I mean, I can't stand him.
That's part of it too.
Reading comprehension, it was like 3 sentences. That of a second grader for that. That was stupid for people to even say that.
I hadn't heard that until you said it though.
That's just a way for people to try to dismiss you.
Yeah.
Like when people don't have anything to logically say, like when people say, like, I don't get it. I don't get what was so offensive about it. And then they say, well, maybe reading comprehension is at an all-time low.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll be the bad guy.
I'm with you, Enrique.
I didn't think it was that bad. And then I think that for me, especially because a lot of times when I put my lawyer hat on and people are asking me stuff, I don't attach emotions to my legal assessment of situations. And so you can come to me with this dire situation where there could be a murder victim or this or that, and I'm going to provide you with a legal analysis, and there will be no emotion or any type of compassion attached to that legal analysis. And I may come back later and try to put a heart on it for you because I know that's what I'm supposed to do, but as a human, that's not what my mind does automatically. And that's what I was saying earlier today. I was like, people do these tweets and they go straight from thought to the world, which is a problem, which is why I don't tweet, because a lot of my thoughts don't need to be shared with the world, but also because I understand that when you're in work mode, you're not necessarily thinking about individuals or people. You're thinking about what is the legal answer, or what is the sports analytics of it and whatnot. Now, to be fair, when somebody came back and said, would Skip have said the same thing had that been Tom Brady laying on the field? And I was like, I doubt he would have. Because then all of a sudden, he would have had that personal connection with his homeboy. But again, that's me saying, if that was one of my family members in a legal situation, I'm going to have a different analysis than I would if it was a stranger or one of my clients. My clients don't pay me for emotion. They pay me to have legal analysis that are going to help them have the best resolution. And so for me, I didn't necessarily think it was that bad. I think that it was definitely poorly timed, but so are a million other tweets. I think that he should have backed down and deleted it when his friend Shannon was clearly emotionally upset by it and avoided that whole confrontation. But at the end of the day, do I think the tweet was wrong in and of itself? No. It was a valid question. How was the NFL going to respond to this? Because at the end of the day, the NFL doesn't care about the individuals.
Yeah.
They can pretend, they can do a little pomp and circumstance, but at the end of the day, they don't care about individuals, and we know that. So anything they're going to do is going to be perfunctory anyway. So why should the analysis or the, sports analytics, do the emotional or compassionate dance when we know that the league isn't doing that?
Yeah, I
The
agree
only
with you.
thing though, the actual analysts that were covering it, they did have a lot of emotion with it. Like Adam Scheffler, like he could barely, him and Booger, like they could barely talk. Like Adam Scheffler could barely find the words to even talk about it. And like you could see his eyes, like he was tearing up.
Yeah,
and
they were
crying.
watering. They were watering.
Yeah, they were watering. Like you were watching that. And Skip is at home. And it wasn't like, it was like unsolicited. It's just like he just picked up his phone. I the same way I think that after a certain age, you shouldn't run the country. After a certain age, you just shouldn't be on Twitter at night just saying anything. Like Skip is 71. Like stay off of Twitter.
Hey, but that's part
That's
of
a
the
valid
allure.
point.
That's part of the allure, though. People use Twitter to live tweet sporting events, or whether it's a concert or whether it's an award show or TV show, and that's part of the entertainment factor. It is an entertainment platform. I can be 100% honest with you. That's the exact same question we was asking in my group chat. What they gonna do about this game? We didn't tweet it out, but so he's not alone in his thinking. The crazy part to me is the people that were up in arms yesterday, they're on television today asking those exact same questions. I understand the timing is different, but because there was a valid question.
Timing.
So I understand the timing may have been off, but I don't think it was worth this fire Skip Bayless type deal. I think it's chickens coming home to roost in the fact that he does have a history of being ridiculous and completely outlandish, particularly to Black players. And so that's what that was to me.
And that's the thing. Like, how many times are you going to swing and miss? Like, it's time for him to go. What's good, everybody? To listen to any of our past shows, go to www.manlistenshow.com. And if you want to add right here in the show, you can do the same thing.
Kyrie's history was used against him. So we're going to use this history against this old white
man. Right. That's what it was.
I fully agree with that.
To your point, Arika, that might be okay if he was an attorney. That might be okay if he was a doctor. Because I know a lot of doctors who they say, hey, I can't use emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be straight, medical, factual, and just stick to the data and what we are looking at. We're talking about media and the messaging and how it's conveyed to the people. And when people are hurting, when people are just devastated by what they saw, it was bad timing. It was inconsiderate, insensitive, and Lab, to your point, there is no but. That's just what it is. It was ill-timed, insensitive, and inconsiderate. Now, 2-3 days later, the day after, okay, well, how are they going to finish the game? How are the fantasy football leagues, how are they going to wrap that up? Maybe, right?
He's in the same condition he was then, though. So
but it could be
it rings hollow.
You heard what I said. You heard what I said.
Saying, though.
Maybe. But see, was right. He was probably still on the field.
He wasn't, because they hadn't even discussed that when he was on the field. It was clearly when he was off the field. That's when they started having those discussions.
Don't matter.
But it can be
he's in the exact same position. That player is in the exact same state at that time as he is right now. And everybody is asking the exact same question now. That was castigating him 24 hours ago. That's all.
It can be inconsiderate and factual. It can be inconsiderate and an accurate question. It could be and. You're saying there's no but there's and. It could be an inconsiderate or inappropriate or ill-timed question and be a valid question.
So here's my response to that. As a 45-year-old man who has been known to put his foot in his mouth several times, okay? You can say what you want to say, and it could be true to you, right? And it could be factual. and it can rub everybody else the wrong way. And guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to take that wood with your factual ass. And that's what this, I almost went there. That's what Skip Bayless is going to have to do. So what I need you Negroes to do, because I love you, but everybody else, what I need for you all to do is be quiet and let him take his word.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Listen,
I haven't said
there's a
anything about it
difference
except for
What
to
you
you
need
guys.
to do. Don't make excuses for him, because guess what? They would not make
excuses for
No,
him.
you're
Exactly.
you literally asked for my opinion.
exactly.
You
That
asked
was
for
my
my
point,
opinion,
Lav.
now. You
I
asked
just
for my
What I
said-
opinion.
thought.
I just
You
said,
asked for my opinion.
what did I just say? I said, not you two, but for the rest of you people. Did I not say that, see?
But for
Yeah, you did, but you was
But
talking,
did I say that?
talking to them too.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I clarified.
Yeah.
I clarified. Not
But
you
this
two
is the
on the
thing,
show,
though.
but for the rest of you Negroes, I want you to listen clearly. And I know you won't like it. I know you won't like it. I don't give a damn. Be quiet.
But this
In
is
the words
the
of
thing.
Minister
Stop
Farrakhan,
blocking
some of y'all
there's
should
a
keep quiet.
difference.
Stop blocking for this 71-year-old white
quiet.
man who should know
There
better.
is a
does know
difference
better.
between caping for people and having an opinion. I
Yeah.
can have an opinion and say, I don't think you should be canceled for this, and
Yeah.
my
Well,
opinion
for
still be
you,
valid
give me your
without me
opinion on this
capping for
question.
him.
Give me your opinion on this question. Would he,
Okay.
would he do it for you?
This is my opinion.
Would
I
he
don't
do it?
care.
Would he do it for you?
I don't need him to cap
I
for
don't
me.
care
I'm
what
not
other people
capping
would
for
do
him.
for me, bro. Straight up.
I am perfectly comfortable with him
Yes.
being canceled and fired. I
You do
don't
stuff-
care.
You do stuff
All
for
I'm
people
saying
every
is-
day who wouldn't reciprocate for you, bro.
Exactly.
Every
All
single
I'm
day.
saying, I
You
don't
said
think
what?
that this
What'd
You
you
do
say?
stuff
action,
for you do stuff for people who wouldn't reciprocate for you every day.
that is literally my job.
Every
This
day.
motherfucker's my family. That's it. Nobody
It
else.
doesn't matter. You
Literally.
asked the question, would they
Everything I do
reciprocate?
for
You just
work,
said that.
I'm
So,
doing for people that would not do the same for me. Like literally, I get so much animosity from people that would not be where they are today if it wasn't for me. That's not why I do things. You have to be true to what you think is right, or else, you know what I mean?
I mean, I get that, but I also get what Mark's saying. It's like every time we're wrong, like we got a
Mhm.
whole group that everybody who's going to bat and blocking like the O line to protect them. And then when we do something wrong, we say something, whether it's Ice Cube or whether it's Kyrie or whether it's, just any of our people, and then they're just out here on an island by their own. And not only is nobody from the other side blocking from them, we got our own people who's attacking them as well too. And that's
Yeah.
and we talk
That's a
about
problem.
in those songs and the record labels, like they can talk about everything that's detrimental to anybody under the sun, and you're gonna take a chance to get it canceled. You talk about anything that's detrimental to us because nobody's blocking for us, and it's okay. And it's the same thing with Skip. Like even if I don't agree that maybe that somebody should be canceled, like like Jay the Farrakhan, I'm gonna keep quiet. Like I'm just not gonna keep like. And I don't have a platform, but I'm saying if I was somebody who had a
this is
platform,
your platform. You're on your platform now.
yeah,
What are
but
you
you
talking
know what I
Yeah.
mean. I mean, like
Yeah.
Stephen A, who
Platform.
can influence hundreds of millions. That's what I'm saying.
Shit, we just ain't made it yet. You know
We
why?
have-
You know what I mean,
Hey,
though.
listen, no, hold on. And you know why he ain't nobody? Because when this happened, C's my witness. When Skip said it, the night Skip said that mess, I
Yeah.
said, who's
Stephen
going
A. is
to
gonna block
be the Negro that they trot out tomorrow to say, I know Skip's heart, and
He
he's
did
good.
say that.
And
He
it was
did say
Stephen
that.
A. Smith.
He
Did
did
he?
say that.
Yes, he did.
I didn't even see what Stephen A said, man.
He ain't nobody.
Listen,
He ain't
Stephen
nobody.
A.
He did.
Smith
Mark
need
called
his
it.
shit
He
bust
did.
to the white. But
hey, in the words of Brother Umar, 30 lashes for Stephen
Yeah.
A. Smith.
He ain't nobody. Yes, you do got a platform.
to the
But
white.
you know what I meant, the one that can
No, I
influence
don't know
them,
what
like
you meant. You got
like-
a platform.
so when I say that I mean people. So I mean people that would influence people on the other side. Like a lot of times, like say like you have somebody that's like a white supremacist, or maybe do something that's racially motivated or, you know, something behind it, and you have that black person that goes, oh no, it's okay, it's fine, then you're gonna have all those other white racists like, oh well, so and so said it was fine. I mean, them type of people aren't watching our show. So that, I guess that's what I meant when I said like I don't have a platform. They're not gonna listen to anything we say, whether it's Sarika saying Skip was okay, Laugh saying Skip was okay, and be like, oh, so it was okay that Skip said that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was saying.
We didn't
I'm
say
not
that
saying
he's
he's okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Well,
saying I didn't have a problem with it.
By
I mean,
all
okay,
means,
that's the
fire
same
him.
thing.
no,
That's
it's
No.
not.
okay.
No.
It's
I don't got
not.
a problem with it.
I don't
It's
care
not.
if he gets fired. For me, it's the slippery slope. So for me, the tweet itself, regardless of who
Yeah.
said it, was not problematic. He has a history of being, you know, less than compassionate or whatever towards, you know, players that are not white people. So
Black
I don't
players.
care about him.
Yeah.
So I don't care if he never works in this industry again. I don't care if somebody beats him to the white meat. What I'm saying is with that tweet specifically, I didn't take issue with it.
Yeah.
Him being canceled or fired because of his history of behavior, this being another indicative behavior of what his overall agenda is, sure, I'm totally behind that. But if you take this individual tweet and put it in anybody's, you know what I mean, whatever, I don't know, Twitter feed or whatever,
Yeah,
then
timeline, whatever.
yeah, then I'm not going to look at that and necessarily say that it was wrong. For me, I have an analytical brain. I'm going to shoot from the look at the situation and respond. And then I'm going to think later, let me add a little compassion. I also do that in my personal life. I say things and it comes off as harsh. And then I'm like, ooh, let me add a LOL. I don't mean LOL. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't mean it at all. I mean exactly what I said.
Two things before we move on from that.
Yeah, for y'all
Number one, that's because you were Scorpio.
Listen, you're not gonna keep hating on me.
And then number two, after this, I want you two and the rest of you Negroes that's listening to just be quiet. Silencio, por favor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I haven't said
because
anything.
here's the thing.
I'm talking to you honestly, how I feel, man.
Here's the thing. And this is why I'm so passionate about it. So Shannon ain't 100% down. He's not. Shannon not. He gets it right a lot. He gets it right. He gets it right. Me, C. Well, C's a Republican.
Okay.
B and C.
So now we all under the bus.
No, I'm just saying,
He's
nobody's
spoken
100% down.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody 100% right. But
No, what you mean is nobody 100% agrees with you.
That might be right. That's fair.
Hey, he didn't add that part. He said nobody's 100% down. Under his breath, he said, with me.
Okay, but here's the thing. Shannon Sharp, he out of protest. Well, you never really got to see if he was out of protest, why he didn't go on the show the day after, right?
He said it though. I thought he said it today though.
He said enough.
All right.
Yeah.
So he implied enough that he was like, okay, this is his silent protest. Now, a couple weeks ago, Skip had just flat out in his face disrespecting him, right? For Tom Brady. And then you get to this show, Shannon saying what he has to say. He said, I'm still hoping you delete the tweet. I'm not. And whatever, right? So he gets mad, belligerent, and emotional and upset. And what I don't like about it, and reason why I want his ass gone, is because if Shannon Sharp shows emotion like that, if anybody other than tap dancing Stephen A. Smith shows emotion to where they're being aggressive and digging their heels into what they think, they out of there.
I totally agree.
They're out of there. So it's this double standard that this guy that he embodies and that he's the epitome of. And that's why I'm like, y'all, stop blocking for this dude. Let him take his wood.
I'm not blocking for him.
Yeah, his name is Skip and Shannon, not Shannon and Skip. First take was Skip Bayless with somebody else before Stephen A. Smith. He is the headliner. He knows exactly what it takes. He says stuff, and honestly, sometimes I know he he can't believe some of the stuff he says, particularly when he's talking about LeBron. It's like, it's so outrageous that you can't really truly believe that about LeBron not being good and stuff like that. It's impossible for him to believe that. And so I think a lot of time he does say stuff for attention, and in the background, you know, he's not at the Disney or ESPN anymore. He's under a Rupert Murdoch brand. So there's a different level of accountability that you have as well.
I'm going to say that is exactly what I was talking about earlier today, because I'll bring this to a little personal front. I will say that, like, it's been told to me that people prefer shows where we argue over shows where we agree.
Oh,
So he's not,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So he's not choosing people that he agrees with. He's choosing people to argue with. He's choosing people to stir up controversy with, because that's what gets ratings. So he's doing what it takes to make his show famous or infamous the way he wants it to be. Like,
that more egregious,
for better or worse. I'm not saying he shouldn't be canceled.
How he uses his Twitter feed, which makes it that more egregious, y'all.
So cancel him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have.
I'm not opposed to him being canceled. I'm opposed to the fine print. So when you give me my walking papers and you put the reasoning behind it, put because I've spent the last 12 years disrespecting Black people. Don't put because I put this.
But you act like that hasn't been used against us. How people haven't always said, you know what, because you've shown repeated behavior, consistent behavior, and we can no longer tolerate it.
Yes, but that should be
now, we know what's not going
it
to happen.
shouldn't be this tweet. It should be your consistent, repeated behavior. It's you as a human we don't like. It's you as a human we're canceling. It's not this tweet. This may have been the straw that broke the camel's back for the public, but it's not this one thing. It's you as a human, Skip, that needs to be canceled. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm not capping for him.
But it's
cancel
never
him.
Going to be that if y'all just keep.
Who is y'all? I'm not capping for him. All I'm saying is the tweet is unproblematic.
Yeah, no cap. I'm not capping.
Yes, you are. You're caping. Yes, you are. But anyway, I still love you caping motherfuckers. We're gonna go ahead and I think we talked about it enough. I know people like to see us argue, but I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to I want to see this young man pull through.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him bounce back and to be able to live a life that is devoid of complications, where he can hug his family, he can have children, live a life that he imagined. I don't care if he plays another down on the football field. I just want him to be able to pull through and to, be back with his family. So that's really, all that matters. Whether Skip Bayless gets canceled, I doubt he will. Even if all of us was in agreement, I doubt that he would get canceled. But again, what's most important is Damar Hamlin, prayers, positive thoughts to his family. We're gonna go ahead and end the show on that note. Make sure y'all subscribe to the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @manlistenshow. Leave us a thumbs up, and we'll house you next time. Peace.